Close your eyes, it's 1950. Jazz notes float from a warm wooden radio, a classic blue car glides down a quiet street, and families gather under the soft glow of a brand new television. Let's drift into the gentle wonders of this vintage year. Welcome, my dear friend. Take a deep, slow breath, and let the heavy weight of the modern day melt away from your shoulders. This is Toro, welcoming you back to Toro's History Lullabies. Tonight, we are going to step into a quiet time machine, leaving behind the fast pace of our current world. Together, we will travel back across the soft waves of time to a year of transition, renewal, and quiet dreams, the year 1950. Imagine a soft curtain of mist parting to reveal a decade just beginning to find its voice. The middle of the 20th century was a time when the world was gently picking up its pieces, looking toward the horizon with hopeful eyes, and weaving comfort into the simple patterns of daily life. As you settle deep into your pillow, let your breathing slow down. Inhale the calm of the past, and exhale the tension of the present. Tonight, we do not hurry. We walk slowly through the quiet streets of yesterday, listening to the soft hum of history as it sings a gentle lullaby to the world. Let yourself drift, let your mind rest, as we explore the beautiful, quiet tapestry of 1950. The year 1950 breathed a quiet breath of cooperation across continents that had long been weary. In the soft light of a Parisian spring, a beautiful idea was born to bring lasting harmony to Europe. It was the month of May when a thoughtful statesman named Robert Schuman put forward a gentle plan. He suggested that nations share their coal and steel resources, binding their economies together so closely that conflict would become impossible. This quiet, poetic agreement, known as the Schuman Declaration, became the very first seed of what would eventually blossom into the European Union. Imagine the scratch of fountain pens on heavy paper, the quiet sighs of relief in grand rooms, and the soft feeling of hope returning to millions of homes across the continent. It was a gentle promise that the future would be built on shared bread and shared strength. Meanwhile, across the vast and deep Atlantic Ocean, another quiet gathering of minds was taking place. Representatives from 12 nations met with soft voices and determined hearts to officially establish the permanent comforts of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They chose a quiet, bustling city to host their new headquarters, establishing a framework designed not to wage conflict, but to preserve a delicate, precious tranquility across the Western world. The discussions were long, filled with the gentle rustle of maps and the warm steam of afternoon tea, as leaders sought to build a protective blanket of security over a generation that wished only for long, uninterrupted nights of peaceful sleep. Elsewhere in the world, far across the sea in Asia, a historic handshake took place between two vast neighbors. In the quiet, snowy month of February, a profound treaty of friendship and mutual assistance was signed, weaving a new political tapestry between two ancient lands. For ordinary citizens living along the borders, this meant a return to regular trade, the gentle reopening of old mountain pathways, and the comforting knowledge that the great powers above them were choosing to walk hand in hand rather than in opposition. During this same remarkable year, the world of maps grew a little more precise and a little more inclusive. The beautiful, ancient country of India proudly declared itself an independent, democratic republic. On a crisp January morning, millions of citizens watched as their new constitution came into effect, blending ancient traditions with modern dreams of equality. The celebration was filled with the soft rustle of beautiful silk saris, the gentle scent of jasmine garlands, and the quiet pride of a nation charting its own peaceful course under the warm sun. It was a monumental shift, yet it happened with the quiet dignity of a sunrise. One story that shaped 1950. If we were to look back through the mists of 1950 to find the single most beautiful monument to human hope, our eyes would rest upon the banks of the East River in New York City. There, rising gracefully against the autumn sky, the United Nations Secretariat building was finally completed. For years, the world had watched this tall, slender tower of glass and green marble slowly climb toward the heavens. It was designed not just as an office, but as a cathedral of peace, a physical manifestation of humanity's collective desire to never repeat the sorrows of the past. Imagine walking along the cobblestones of Manhattan on a cool October afternoon in 1950. The air carries a crisp salt breeze from the harbor. You look up, and the afternoon sun catches the thousands of glass windows of the newly finished tower, making it glow like a giant, vertical emerald. Inside, craftsmen from every corner of the earth are quietly working. A carpenter from Denmark smoothly sands a wooden table, a weaver from France gently hangs a soft tapestry, an artist from Japan arranges a quiet stone garden outside. Ordinary people would stand at the security gates just to watch the flags of dozens of nations flutter softly in the wind, all lined up in alphabetical order, none higher than the other. For a mother walking her child in the park nearby, or a clerk heading home after a long day at a typewriter, that glowing tower was a daily reminder that the world was trying to be better. It represented a collective promise that people from different languages and cultures could sit down in quiet, sunlit rooms and talk through their differences. The building stood tall and calm, a quiet sentinel of peace welcoming a brand new decade. Daily life around the world. Step inside a typical home of 1950, and you will immediately feel a sense of cozy, unhurried comfort. The air often smells of slow-roasted Sunday dinners and the crisp, clean scent of laundry that has been dried outside on a cotton clothesline. In the mornings, the gentle clink of glass milk bottles on the front porch announces the arrival of the milkman, a comforting routine that connected every neighborhood. Kitchens are painted in soft, cheerful pastel shades of mint green, pale yellow, and robin's egg blue. On the countertops, new round plastic containers with airtight seals, invented by a clever man named Earl Tupperware, are proudly displayed, keeping home-baked cookies fresh for days. If you look into the wardrobe of a young woman in 1950, you will find beautiful, flowing poodle skirts made of heavy felt, often featuring a whimsical little dog stitched onto the fabric with a shiny silver leash. These skirts swirl gracefully during weekend dances, paired with soft saddle shoes and crisp white socks. Men walk to work in handsome, tailored wool suits and sturdy fedora hats, tipping their brims politely to neighbors as they walk down the sidewalk. As twilight falls, a wonderful new ritual begins to take over the evening hours. Families walk into their living rooms and gather around a large, polished wooden cabinet. Inside this cabinet is a small, glowing glass screen. Television sets are finding their way into millions of homes for the very first time. Neighbors who do not yet own one will walk over to a friend's house, bringing homemade popcorn in large metal bowls, sitting quietly together on the rug to watch the flickering black and white images. For transportation, roads are filled with beautifully rounded, heavy steel automobiles painted in deep maroon, navy blue, or seafoam green. These cars do not rush, they cruise smoothly, their engines making a deep, comforting purr. On weekends, children play outside until the streetlights come on, playing timeless games of hopscotch, spinning colorful tin tops, or trading shiny marbles in the dirt. Life moves at a human pace, measured not by notifications, but by the slow ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. Science, inventions, and technology. The world of science in 1950 was filled with a gentle sense of wonder, as researchers worked quietly in laboratories to make everyday life safer and more convenient. In a quiet laboratory, a dedicated doctor named Jonas Salk was tirelessly working on the early stages of a polio vaccine, a medical marvel that would soon bring immense peace of mind to parents all over the globe. Every small breakthrough was a step toward a world where children could play freely in public parks and swimming pools without fear. In the world of everyday convenience, a quiet revolution was taking place in a small office in New York. a thoughtful businessman named Frank McNamara found himself at a restaurant without his wallet, which sparked a brilliant idea. He created the very first Diners Club card, introducing the world to the gentle convenience of the modern credit card. It was a simple piece of cardboard, but it allowed people to travel and dine without carrying heavy pockets of coins, changing the way humanity interacted with commerce forever. Meanwhile, communication was becoming faster and more magical. Engineers were busy assembling the massive UNIVAC computer, one of the very first commercial computers ever built. It was as large as an entire room, filled with thousands of glowing vacuum tubes that hummed like thousands of sleeping bees. Though it could only perform tasks that seem simple today, it was a beautiful testament to human ingenuity, laying the very first stones of the digital path we walk on now. Even the way people preserved memories was changing. A clever company introduced the first mass-market photocopier, using a dry, electrostatic process called xerography. Imagine the wonder of a clerk placing a piece of paper on a glass surface, watching a warm light slide across, and receiving an exact replica a moment later. It felt like magic, yet it quickly became a quiet, indispensable part of offices around the world, turning the heavy labor of hand copying into a peaceful, automated task. Culture and the arts. In the gentle realm of culture, 1950 brought melodies and stories that wrapped around the soul like a warm blanket. If you walked past a music shop, you would hear the velvet voice of Nat King Cole drifting out into the street, singing his timeless hit, Mona Lisa. The song was soft, romantic, and slow, capturing the reflective mood of a generation looking for tenderness. People would buy the new vinyl record albums, place them gently onto record players, and watch the shiny black disc spin slowly, filling their living rooms with sweet, warm acoustics. On a crisp October morning, readers opening their newspapers smiled at the debut of a brand new comic strip called Peanuts, created by Charles M. Schulz. Readers were introduced to a round-headed, gentle boy named Charlie Brown and his quiet, imaginative dog, Snoopy. This simple comic brought a unique, soft humor to daily life, showing that it was okay to be quiet, to feel a little uncertain, and to find joy in simple friendships. In the grand, darkened theaters of 1950, children and adults alike gasped in delight as Walt Disney released his animated masterpiece, Cinderella. The beautiful colors, the magical music of a dream is a wish your heart makes, and the gentle message that kindness always triumphs over cruelty provided a perfect escape for audiences seeking comfort and hope. For readers who loved the quiet rustle of pages before bed, the brilliant author C.S. Lewis invited the world to step through the back of a wooden wardrobe by publishing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Generations of children fell asleep dreaming of snowy woods, lampposts glowing in the dark, and a noble, gentle lion who brought springtime back to a frozen world. It was a year where art did not seek to shock, but to heal, to inspire, and to gently remind humanity of the magic hidden within the ordinary. Media and headlines. In 1950, news traveled at a slower, more deliberate pace. People did not receive updates on screens in their pockets. Instead, they waited for the morning newspaper to arrive with a gentle thud on their porch, or they turned a large Bakelite dial on their radio to listen to evening broadcasts. Radio announcers spoke with calm, deep, authoritative voices, delivering the news of the world with a sense of dignity and care that made even difficult news feel manageable. Let us listen to some of the peaceful and curious headlines that graced the front pages during that vintage year. New United Nations headquarters lights up the Manhattan skyline. Grandmothers everywhere embrace the convenience of airtight Tupperware. A new record set as millions gather around their television sets for the first time. A clever little dog named Snoopy makes his quiet debut in the daily papers. To understand the simple world of 1950, it is delightful to look at the prices of ordinary things, read with a soft, comforting tone. A crisp, daily newspaper cost just 5 cents. A fresh, bakery loaf of white bread to make morning toast was 14 cents. If you drove your smooth, rounded car to the local station, a gallon of gasoline cost only 18 cents. A shiny, new television set, the ultimate luxury for the home, could be purchased for around $200, saved up for months with quiet pride. These numbers remind us of a simpler economic rhythm, where a handful of shiny coins could buy a day's worth of comfort and nourishment. People born and people died this year. The clock of humanity continued its steady, gentle ticking in 1950, welcoming beautiful new souls who would go on to shape our world with music and laughter. In the beautiful month of May, a boy named Stevland Hardaway Judkins was born in Michigan. The world would later know and love him as Stevie Wonder, a musical genius whose joyful, soulful songs would bring light and harmony to millions of hearts. Later in the year, a wonderfully funny boy named Bill Murray was born, destined to bring laughter and smiles to movie theaters for decades to come. In October, the gentle rocker Tom Petty entered the world, ready to write songs that would accompany people on long, peaceful highway drives under the open sky. As new lives began, the world also said a quiet, respectful goodbye to several grand figures who had finished their earthly journeys. The brilliant and visionary author George Orwell passed away in the quiet month of January, leaving behind powerful books that challenged the world to think deeply and value freedom. In March, Edgar Rice Burroughs, the imaginative creator who gave the world the adventurous stories of Tarzan, closed his eyes for the final time. Each of these individuals left a lasting imprint on the fabric of human culture, and their passings were marked not with loud mourning, but with a gentle, grateful appreciation for the stories and melodies they left behind for future generations to enjoy. End-of-year reflections. As the final months of 1950 began to wane, and the cold winter snows began to fall softly over fields and cities alike, a quiet mood of reflection settled over the world. It had been a year of building foundations, of planting seeds of peace, and of discovering new ways to bring comfort into the family home. People looked back over the past 12 months and saw a year that had behaved like a bridge, gently carrying them away from the hardships of the previous decade and leading them toward a modern world full of technological wonder and artistic joy. Imagine a family sitting in their warm living room on New Year's Eve in 1950. The fire crackles softly in the hearth, casting long, lazy shadows across the room. The radio plays a slow, orchestral version of Auld Lang Syne. They look at the small television screen in the corner, then out the window at the falling snow. There are still uncertainties in the world, as there always are, but there is also a deep, abiding hope. They have seen nations pledge to work together, they have seen scientists work to cure diseases. They have seen beautiful new stories printed in books and projected onto silver screens. With a gentle sigh, the world prepares to let go of 1950. It leaves behind a legacy of quiet resilience, a vintage year that taught humanity to appreciate the beauty of a slow melody, the warmth of a neighbor's company, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The year fades out like a beautiful song ending on a soft, sustained note, drifting gracefully into the history books. Thank you so much for journeying back to 1950 with me tonight. It has been an honor to guide your mind through the peaceful paths of the past. If you felt the gentle comfort of this story, and if it helped your heart find a bit of rest, please consider softly clicking the like button and subscribing to Toro's History Lullabies. Your support helps keep this quiet sanctuary alive for everyone seeking a peaceful escape before sleep. Now, close your eyes fully, adjust your blanket, and let yourself sink deep into the mattress. In our next episode, we will travel to another beautiful era, discovering more quiet stories waiting to sing you to sleep. But for now, there is nothing left for you to do. The journey is complete. The world is at peace. Sleep deeply, my dear friend. Good night, and sweet dreams.